Ready? 1, 2, 3. Oh, I can't stop with my left hand. I'm gonna try it again. I'm gonna do a little clap. Ready? Like a clapboard. Fall knitting plans. Take 1. Hey y'all! Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here or if you just need a refresher, I'm Ollie, and I'm the one-woman show behind the Walleeze channel. And I like to talk a lot about anything really, but especially my interests and hobbies, and my current hyperfixation, knitting, which is exactly what I'm here to talk to you about today. If you were here last week when I posted my very first knitting podcast, which I recommend that you go check it out, much appreciated, I said that I was going to post one of those every week, but since recording last week's episode, I have made very little progress. I've made just a couple inches of progress on my Salty Days sweater, and I've not finished anything, and I've not cast anything on, although I do have yarn coming in, so there will probably be a podcast next week. But for this week, I decided, instead of giving you guys a very boring, very short podcast, I decided to do a little bit late, but my fall knitting plans. And my excuse for being late is that I wasn't on YouTube 2 weeks ago, so I think I get a pass for being late. But I'm here nonetheless, and I hope you stick around, and I hope you enjoy hearing me very disorganizedly. Disorganized? Is that a word? Ziggy? Is disorganizedly a word?
Yes, disorganizedly is a valid word. It is a synonym for haphazardly and describes a manner or action that is disorderly, irregular, or confused.
I'm an English major. I should have known that. Anyways, very disorganizedly or haphazardly put together. What was my beginning sentence? I hope you enjoy the video. That's the point. So, the way this video is going to be structured, because it is disorganized but kind of organized at the same time, is I'm going to separate it into 3 different sections. First section is going to be deadlines, which I have strict deadlines for some of this stuff. Next section is going to be loose deadlines, where it's kind of like if it gets done, it gets done. Hallelujah. You know what I mean? And then the third section is kind of like, it'd be great if I could get this done, but I already have quite the extensive list, and it probably won't. But they're there in the back of my mind. So, the first section, which we're going to talk about today, is deadlines. The items with stricter deadlines on them than anything else. So the first one, I'm not going to show it here because I don't want to make my boyfriend, who's hopefully watching this, make my boyfriend skip the part of the video because it's his Christmas present and I don't want him to see it until he gets it. So I don't want to make him skip it. So I'm just going to show the yarn. But if you go check out my knitting podcast, which I will link if I can figure out how to do. I have faith in myself. In one of those little, I don't know which side it would be on. One of the cards, the little cards. If I can figure out how to do that, I'll do it. If I can't, then it'll be down below. I'm knitting up a Salty Days sweater, which is the Salty Days sweater by Kudo Vakika, or Veronica Lindberg. And I love this sweater. It's such an interesting knit. It's all over texture, lace, cables, everything's there's a lot happening at once. And it's very interesting. I'm in a little bit of a slump with it currently, and I think it's because it's my only knit and I kind of just need something to break it up. So once my yarn comes in, I'll talk more about that later, but I have yarn coming in and I'll cast something new on, and then I think that'll get me out of this little slump. But I'm knitting it in the Malabrigo Rios in this color. This is like a shaggy little ball, but it's this color. It's Wales Road. It's such a pretty color. Featuring my slightly chipping nails. It's 100% superwash merino. It's a worsted weight yarn, and it is truly a dream to knit up. The color work is so rapidly staggering that I kind of don't need to do helical knitting. Where I joined in a new ball, you can kind of tell because the new ball had more of a purplish hue than the last one did, but okay. The last one, it has more of a purplish hue than the last one did, so you can kind of tell but it's not big. It's honestly me staring like hardcore at it, and this is how you can tell. Scary noise happened outside. I don't know if y'all could hear that. Anyways, so I don't really need to like do anything. I just need to keep knitting on it about halfway through the body right now. Yeah, it's working up. It's working up a little bit. I've reached kind of, like I said, I'm in a little bit of a slump with it. So I just it just feels like it's going slower than it needs to, but I just got through the cables. It was my first time doing cables. I'll talk more about that in my next podcast, but it was a trip. I'm about halfway through the body, and I still have to obviously finish the body, do the collar, the sleeves, and everything. And I'm doing modifications on the ribbing and the sleeves, so that should be fun and a challenge. But I'll reach that when I get there. But the point is that it's being worked up, and I need to get it done before my boyfriend comes to visit me in like a month and a half. So he's going to be here on November 27th, and I would like to have it done ideally a couple days before that, so that way he can have it as soon as he's here. So ideal goal date is November 25th. I doubt I will be able to do that. Actually, no, I have faith. I think I'll be able to do it. I'm a good chunk of the way into it. I just think I need to work diligently on it. But ideal date is November 27th, November 25th, November 27th, one of those two. Or I guess I forgot about blocking. So like I'd say on the blocking mats, November 25th, done November 27th. But it's okay if it's done as long as by the time like December 5th or something, because that's when he leaves, I think. So just before he leaves, because that's his Christmas present. I'm not gonna be able to see him for Christmas, and so I would like that to be in his hands before Christmas. The next one that I have, the next project that I have in mind is the jack-o'-lantern socks by, I'm gonna mess up this name, Renard Endormi. If you know how to say her name, please correct me in the comments. Otherwise, that is my best guess. Obviously, it's going to be written on the screen, so you guys can find it. But it's these absolutely gorgeous socks. I saw them on Instagram the other day, and I just audibly gasped, and I immediately went to Ravelry and bought the pattern, and immediately went on to Linda Hobby and bought the yarn. It's on its way. That is the yarn that is on its way. I do not have it in my hands yet. It is somewhere in the English mail system. Right now, my tracking information is telling me that nobody has it. Linda Hobby doesn't have it. The person that was taking it to the post office doesn't have it, and the post office doesn't have it. So, usually I have trouble with this Linda Hobby's tracking, so it'll just randomly show up on my door. So that's what I'm hoping for. But it should be here sometime next week, hopefully. But I'm going to be knitting that in Drops Fabelle. I chose the colors, and I'll put the pictures that are online on the screen somewhere. But I chose colors red, apple green, and not red, rust, apple green, and brown. And they are 75% wool and 25% polyamide blend. Sorry, and obviously it's fingering weight because it's the sock yarn. And I'm super excited to knit those up because they are so stinking cute, and I think I would be the cutest girl in town if I had those for Halloween. So obviously the deadline for that is October 31st. Ideally, I would love to have them done like a couple of days to a week before, so that way I can wear them for like the week of Halloween or things like that. But Halloween, absolute latest, because I have to wear these on Halloween. Obviously, they're so stinking cute. I can't get over it. I love just looking at the pattern. I'm so excited to start knitting them up. I'm like itching for it, you know? And I'm so excited. Okay, next up is I swear this is a fall knit. I know this is a Christmas theme. I would like to preface this. I know that this is a Christmas project, but like I said, I'm not going to see my boyfriend Jordan for Christmas. So if I want to give them, obviously I should have prefaced that even more. I prefaced to the preface, this is a gift knit. This is a gift knit, and they're for my boyfriend Jordan, and I'm not gonna see him on Christmas, like I said, and I would like to give them to him when he visits, so that way he can have them for Christmas when we are apart. But they are the Home for Christmas socks by, again, Renard and Dormy. Please correct me if you know the correct pronunciation for her name. I don't want to mispronounce it because I believe the least bit of respect you deserve is getting your name correctly pronounced. So if you know better than I, please correct me, and I will correct myself from now on. But as you can tell, there's a Renard and Dormy theme to this. She was having a sale. She's having a sale, 20% off on her patterns all throughout October. So go check her out. Obviously, she's going to be linked down below. Duh. And I think she has some really stinking cute patterns. I bought 4 of her patterns this weekend. So, but I plan on knitting this up in 2 different types of yarn, 2 different brands of yarn. One of which is Cascade Heritage in the color Pine. I have some here already, but they're planned for a different pair of socks. I could probably squeeze out both pairs of socks with this 100 gram skein, but I kind of don't feel like playing yarn chicken when it's a color that I like and will get used again. So this is Cascade Heritage Pine, is one of the colors that I am planning on. I haven't bought this yarn yet. It's in the cart waiting. This is Cascade Heritage in the colorway Pine. Oh, don't focus on my hand. There it is. The light's making it, it's kind of cloudy outside today. It's like really cloudy outside today, actually. So it's kind of making it seem more bluish, but it's a very pretty green. And Cascade Heritage is 75% superwash merino and 25% nylon. And it's so soft. I have no idea how it holds up in a sock because I haven't given the other socks that I knit up in Cascade Heritage to my boyfriend yet, and he hasn't given them a wear test. So I have no idea if it's strong enough to hold up, but I'm taking the risk and buying it for more socks because it is extremely soft and it feels very luxurious and it feels very nice. So I haven't had many problems with it. I know some people have some problems with Cascade, but I have yet to have any problems with Cascade, knock on wood. So that's one of the yarns that I'm going to be knitting it up in. Obviously, you see there's a white and a red that, wherever I'm putting the picture, I don't know which side it is. I can't remember which side I put it on. But obviously, you see that there's a red and a white that need to be put in there. So to do those, I'm buying Drops Nord in the colors Off-White and Red. And Drops Nord is 30% polyamide, 25% wool, and 45% alpaca, which is an interesting blend that I've never used before. And I've never even bought Drops Nord before. I've bought some of other Drops other yarns, but not Drops Nord. So I'm excited to see how it feels. The other Drops yarns that I've bought are soft, but a little bit itchy, but I'm also very sensitive, so take that with a grain of salt. I'm very sensitive to wools, so I'm willing to splurge a little if it's softer, just because I know that I'm sensitive. But these are for my boyfriend and he's not sensitive, so I'm free to take whatever risk I want. Obviously it's a fingering weight because it's a sock yarn, both of them. Well, actually I don't know if Drops Nord is specifically a sock yarn, but it has polyamide, so I count it as a sock yarn. And again, because I want to give these to him when he comes to visit, I would ideally have them done in blocking on November 25th, completely done and dry by November 27th. At the latest, not the latest. Oh my god. That's my ideal day. But as long as it's before he leaves. Which is like a week and a half later. As long as it's done before then, I'm happy. But ideally, they would be ready to give to him on the day he comes here. It's a weird mix of like, I have like a strict deadline, but also it's kind of loosey-goosey and it's kind of like play as you go, you know what I mean? Yeah, strict deadlines kind of freak me out a little, so I like to have like a little bit of playing room on both ends. Yeah, I hope that resonates with some of you guys. But, on to the next section. Should I do like a clapboard thing? Could I do like a clapboard thing but with like yarn? Oh, this is the Salty Days hank. Focus on it, not my face. Whoa, it's like washing everything out in so much blue. Anyways, could I do like a clapboard thing? Like, loose deadlines. Take 1. That was kind of stupid. Anyways, we're going to talk about my loose deadlines now. That was the last of my deadlines, like stricter deadlines. Obviously you saw they were kind of still vague, but these are even vaguer. So buckle up. So these are my loose deadlines. These are things that I would like to get done by specific dates, but if I can't, they're kind of just up in the air of like, they'll get done when they get done, but they are going to get done within this fall winter season. They might bleed into one another, but ideally they'd be at least cast on during the fall. First up on our list is the let me figure out how to say this right now. Oh, it's a flower.
Clematis.
Oh, okay. For all of you guys.
Clematis.
Clematis. Okay, so first up on our list is the Clematis sweater by Emma Mayer. Emma Mayer has a vest pattern and a sweater pattern for this. I mentioned this in my podcast. And I love both. And I am one day definitely going to knit up the vest, but that day is not going to be today because obviously we're in the winter and I am going to school. I'm going to uni in England and it's cold and vests are not going to be of much use to me until the spring. So sweater it is. But I'm going to knit up the sweater. I already bought the yarn. It's on its way. It's in that package from Linda Hobby that is up in the ether, God knows where. But it is, I'm gonna knit it up in, I was originally gonna do Cascade Black Cherry, I believe, but I decided against that because I found a cheaper option, and that's frankly all it boiled down to. So I'm knitting it up in Do Store Alpaca Stirk. I don't think I said any of that right, except alpaca, but that's the brand. Obviously, I'm gonna put a picture on the screen. I'm gonna knit it up in the color dark red, and Do Store Alpaca Stirk is a 40% alpaca, 40% merino, and 20% nylon blend. Again, with that wool and alpaca. I love alpaca yarn. It's so soft to me. Anytime I've used anything with alpaca blended in, it's been some of the softest yarn I've ever used. I used it in my film scarf, which is in my podcast, but it's a DK weight yarn, and it would be great to have this by December. Do I think I'll get it done by December? Honestly, it's a toss-up. Socks, so I'm knitting up a lot of socks this fall, and socks either take me 2 weeks for both socks and the whole pair, or they will take me 2 months. So it's kind of a toss-up, really. Obviously, I have deadlines on these socks that I'm knitting up and the sweater that I'm finishing, so that might kind of light a fire under my butt and get me going. So I do believe that it can be cast on by December, for sure, especially since I bought the yarn and it's on its way and I will already have it on hand. I 100% think that it can be cast on by December. It would be great. It would be so cute to have by Christmas because I could just wear like this dark red, so cool looking, visually interesting sweater for Christmas, and I think that would be cute. But obviously Christmas is the day that I really have in mind to wear it, but whole of December is like, oh, festive, red, Kris Kringle, ho ho ho, Merry Christmas kind of vibes, you know what I mean? But if I don't get it done by Christmas or December festive season, it's not the end of the world. Because I can just keep working on it, take my time, and really give it my all. And it's still really cold in England in February, and I can just wear it for Valentine's Day and be the cutest girl in town, like I said before. That is my goal, always, to be the cutest girl in town. And if I can feel like I'm the cutest girl in town, then I've won for the day. And that's counted as a personal win. So that's the goal. Next up, is on my loose deadlines list, are the Tree Farm socks. I would love to include these with my boyfriend's Christmas gift, so like November 27th deadline. If I can. I doubt I will because I have a lot on my plate by November 27th. That needs to be done by November 27th. So I don't know if I will be able to, but it'd be great if I could. If not, not the end of the world. I can just work on these socks and give it to Jordan the next time I see him. But my plans for the Tree Farm socks, I already have the yarn for the Tree Farm socks. It's Cascade Heritage, like I said earlier, as in pine and macadamia. So these colors up close, they work really well together. I think they're so cute. So this would be the base color, which is where like the teal kind of is in the sample, and then this is obviously like the forest green that's in the sample. So I think they are so cute together, and it'll be such a nice like pop of green in the sock, and I think they'll just be really cute socks, and I think they'll be really comfy too, because when I cannot express to you that Cascade Heritage is really soft. So I'm really, like I said before, I'm really sensitive to wool. Ever since I was a kid, my mom would try to put me in like real wool sweaters and I'd be itching and scratching and everything. I cannot do it. So obviously when I started using natural fibers for knitting, I was a little bit nervous, and I started finding ones that necessarily didn't really mess with me so much. So like superwash tends to not mess with me so much because it is treated a certain way. Cascade Heritage I know doesn't mess with me, and I've learned that Neighborhood Fiber Co. that I used for my Ophelia blouse is kind of more rustic than I would like. It is kind of itchy, but it's not terrible. I have worn it next to skin, and I can get through the day with it. It does start to like leave my neck a little bit red, but it's not too bad, and it's not the end of the world. But yeah, like I said, it would be great to include these in his Christmas gift by November 27th, but it is no big. I can just give them to him the next time that I see him. So, yeah. Okay, last on my list for loose deadlines are the Celestial Mittens and Hand Warmers. I'm not even going to try to pronounce this because I'm going to mess it up and I'm going to offend someone. The pattern is by this person, and it is a free pattern on Pearl Soho's website, and I immediately fell in love with the design when I saw it. I don't really like wearing mittens or gloves because it's not so much that I have an issue with like them having them on my hands. It's more that when I'm walking around, so obviously in England it's very cold and rainy a lot of the time. That's why so many British people are miserable, because it is, having lived here for over a year now, I see why you guys are miserable. It's terrible at times where you're walking and you're soaked from head to toe from the rain, and it's windy and your hands are cold, and it's just terrible. But I use Apple Maps to know where I'm walking a lot of the times because I'm still learning the way around this city. And so I need to always be grabbing my phone to either look at maps or respond to a text or something, and it's so annoying to have to take off my mittens or my gloves and type on my phone and then put them back on. And I don't know about anyone else, but when my hands get cold, they move in like half speed. I feel like I'm moving my fingers. I'm like texting and I'm like in slow motion, and it's so frustrating. And I've tried those gloves that have like the texture on the fingertips, like rubber or something on the fingertips, and you can like type and everything, and they always suck. So I just decided I'll make myself some hand warmers so that way my palms and stuff are nice and warm, but I can suffer with like cold tips of the fingers just so I can like type or use maps or things like that. So I've been on the hunt for like a good mitt pattern, and I found this one and I loved it. I love the like snowflake-esque designs. I think they're really cute. And I have some scrap yarn that I think will work great for it. So I have leftover Neighborhood Fiber Co. rustic fingering in the colorway Waverly, and I have leftover Earth Yarns Harvest in the color Oleaster. I think is how I said it.
Oleaster.
Oleaster? Don't know. But I used this in my Ophelia blouse. Let's see if I can get you. It's got like dirt in it and stuff. Not dirt, but like dust. Okay. But this is this color. I think it's really pretty. Obviously, it's so cloudy outside today, and it's making everything so blue. So this is Neighborhood Fiber Co. rustic fingering in the colorway Waverly, and this is Earth yarns in the color, it's their line Harvest. It's their fingering weight yarn. And in the color Oleaster, I think. So it's really just a really kind of like warm, again, everything, it's making, the light outside is making it so blue. Obviously, I'm in a dorm. I have a lamp and a big window for my lighting, and it's making this so blue. But it's a really warm off-white, I promise you. And it is a finger weight, and I used them in, I'll see if I can put up a picture. I don't think I have very many pictures of it. But I used them to make Jordan, my boyfriend, some Galaxy socks a couple months ago. I think they turned out great. It is not a sock yarn. We have discovered, Jordan and I have discovered, that this yarn is terrible for socks. It pills so quickly. He wore them once and they were pilling. And it's just, and it's my fault. I know it's not meant to be a sock yarn. It's just like 100% wool, but it's my bad. That's my bad. But I'm using it in mitts, which are not going to get nearly as much wear as socks do, because socks are always rubbing against your shoes, the floor, everything. Mitts are just kind of there. So these two, I think, work really well together. I'll see if I can like color correct this when I'm zoomed in, but yeah, so they work really well together and they're cute, and I hope to make those soon. I have about 200 yards in the earth left over. I did some like guess math. I have like 200 yards and I have like 266 yards in this, so that should be enough to make me a pair of mitts. If not, then I'll find something else to do with it. So yeah, I hope I can get those done before it gets too cold here. But like I said, they're one of those things that's like I need, but also it's chill. If it doesn't get done, it just happens when it happens. So it's whatever. But that brings us on to our last section of the day, which is honorable mentions. So these are kind of the projects that I have in the back of my mind, have been sitting on my queue, would absolutely love to get them done in the fall, but I have quite the spread of things that I need to get done and that I want to get done. So there's no guarantee that these will even get touched or looked at, or yarn will even be shopped for. But they've been sitting there and they're in the back of my mind. The first, I'm not going to talk about these two in detail just because honorable mentions, they're probably not going to get done. If they do get done, then they'll get talked in more detail then. First up is the Olga jacket by Petite Knit. I love the look of the Olga sweater, and when I saw the Olga jacket, I like almost fainted. It's so adorable and it's so cute, and I just, it has such a special place in my heart. And honestly, that color, that sample that she has on the Ravelry, that like deep like burgundy, it's almost like this color, burgundy maroon kind of thing going on, and then it's like the white. I would do it just like that, no notes. I would do it just like that. It's beautiful, it's gorgeous. And a spin-off of this is not on my list, but that I don't know, I'll put the designer's name up on the screen because I can't remember off the top of my head, but the off-kilter cardi, that one is freaking adorable too. That one is a little bit tighter fitting, which I don't prefer really. The only time that I've ever seen myself lean towards that is the clematis sweater, sorry. The clematis sweater, but I could be convinced with this off-kilter cardi because it looks really cute and it's very similar to the Olga sweater. That's not necessarily in like construction, just like in the stripes, and I think that's a moment, and I think I may become a stripe girly. I don't know, I've never been a stripe girly, but those stripes have been really catching my eye. But it's a DK weight pattern. We'll see if I get to it. And next up is the cozy quilt socks, which I did mention in my podcast that I kind of had on the list. Then I found the jack-o'-lantern socks and the Christmas socks, and it just got tossed to the back of the list. But I do have the yarn for that. So I have these two yarns. The label's gone on this one, it's somewhere. But this is Cascade Refine in the colors Lupine and Ecru. So this is lupine, I'll see if I can color correct, because this is not what it looks like in real life at all. But this is Acro, which is just a classic off-white, nothing too crazy about it. So that's my idea for the cozy quilt socks. I really loved it in that classic like light blue that the original sample is in, but I kind of wanted to do something a little bit different. And this is a color that I would, oh yeah, you can kind of tell what it looks like more from back here than when I do it up close. So this is kind of more of an accurate representation of what it looks like. So like this is kind of what they'll look like together. But this is a color that I wouldn't really wear on myself. Not necessarily that it looks bad, I don't think. It's just not a color I gravitate towards. I like deeper jewel tones more than I like pastellies or lighter colors and things like that. But I think this is a gorgeous color, and putting it in socks is a great way to incorporate it it's just not a color that I'd normally wear, but I still want to get some use out of. So those are like my honorable mentions. I doubt they will get done, but we can have hope. Yeah, we can have hope, and we can hope for the best. That's exactly the same thing. But I've got a lot to do. I've got 1, 2, 3 that need to get done before a specific day, and then I've got 1, 2, 3 that I would like to get done before a specific day, and then 2, 3 honorable mentions. How many did I mention? Because I think I added the off-kilter cardi. I'm officially adding the off-kilter cardi. The point is, I'm quite busy this fall season, and some of this probably will bleed over into winter. I'm not too big on like separating like spring, summer, fall, winter. I'm like, this is what I'd like to complete in this like general timeline. If it doesn't, it'll just float over to the next one. And a lot of times I'll have something on my queue and I'll just lose interest in it because it's just been sitting there for so long. I'm just like, no, I'm not motivated to knit this anymore. I'm not motivated to go on with this. I'll just move on to the next thing. And so you'll see a lot of my queue like shift, like things like that. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what gets done. Obviously, I'll update you in the podcast as my yarn comes in and I start working on things and I zoom through. But I'm also a student and I also have a ton of homework. A ton of homework. So we will see what actually gets done. So I think that just about wraps it up for me today. Thank you so much for watching if you stuck around this long. I appreciate you listening to me talking, and you have no idea how much it means to me that you're here with me, if you're still here with me. So if you came and visited at all, pleasure. If you're still here with me and through all my yapping, love you forever. Yeah, I will see you guys next week, probably with another podcast, and hopefully I'll have more to update you than I did this week, because I had almost nothing to update you guys on this week. But I think that's all. So if you liked today's video, be sure to like, subscribe, turn on the notification bell so you can get notified when I post more videos like this, or like my podcast, or just other general yapping videos. Be sure to comment down below if you had anything pressing that you wanted to say or ask. You want to see more or less of something, just general, life stuff. Whatever you want to do in the comments, just keep it respectful. That's all I ask. Go out, be kind, seize the day, and savor your happiness. Bye, y'all. Oh, I should do like one of those like